Hey everyone, it's been a while since I've made a video. I just do this to try and help other people out with things I've learned, and hopefully I have helped some people. Today I'm going to be showing you how I change tires. I've learned a lot doing this. I've changed the tires on both my bike behind me here and my wife's bike over there several times. And I've even done it on my dad's his motor scooter. I think it was a Suzuki. Anyway, it's all very similar, and there's 100 ways to skin a cat, but I'll show you what I've learned, and hopefully you guys get something out of it. Okay, one thing to talk about is balancing. This is what I use to balance the tires. It's a sealant if you get a puncture. I've never had to test if that works, but it really works well to balance your tires. My wheels on both bikes are perfectly balanced all the time. I love it. It's easier to use than the beads, and it's amazingly not a mess. You'll see when I pull the wheel off to deal with when you do that. Okay, the first thing I did was built this wooden frame out of 2x4s. It's just screwed together. It's 14 by 14 inside diameter. What that does is allows me to take the wheel and set it down on there with the brake rotor laying down in it. Now this is a front wheel I'm doing off my 2012. Like that. The other thing I've learned is it's much easier to pull the brake rotor off the other side. You got to buy new bolts for it, and that's an expense, but I don't know, if you want to do it yourself, there is some cost, but it's way cheaper than paying someone else. And I like doing my own work, because if I screw it up, if I scratch it, it's on me. But I know how everything's put together. I know the quality of the work that's been done, and I don't know, I just like doing it anyway. So the rear tire on my 2012 is easier because the drive sprocket comes off, so you don't have to take the brake rotor off. But this is something I found that makes this way easier. Now, breaking the bead, I have a Harbor Freight bead breaker, and what I've done is I've cut this vertical piece. I cut it, and I made these pieces of steel and bolted them on the outside to raise this up 4 inches. It gives me a little more height on it, so when I have my wheel, especially my wider rear wheel, sitting on the 2x4 frame on there, I can get it up to where it needs to be. Another alternative to doing this, what I used to do before I bought this, was I would set this assembly here under the rear end of a truck, and then just use this jack and jack it up to the bottom of the receiver hitch like this, and you got to sit on this side of the tire and then jack this other side, and it will bust the bead. It works. It's pretty effective, but the bead breaker is just easier.
Going.
Okay. So once again, I've already taken the disc off this side, and I've taken out the valve core. I got this on here, so you just Hold that up, would you? And it's basically broke. It's just get pushed off here a little better. So there it is. The bead's broke. Okay, you can stop. All right, now that we got the bead broke, we got to get the tire off the rim. For a lubricant, I just use glass cleaner. I use these tire spoons. They're from Kent Tools, made in the USA. I got these at Northern Tool. They're really nice. I like this curved end. It comes in pretty handy. I have 4 of them. They come in sets of 2. They're a little expensive, but you know, after a couple tire changes, you paid for them. And then I've got these Motion Pro rim shields, which are nice to put on here. Protect your rim. And this is why you need the brake rotor off. I've done it before leaving the brake rotor on, and it is a bitch. So I prefer to take that off. Give it some lubricant and then did I mention nothing about this is really real easy, but it'll come. There we go. Okay, got one side off. I prefer to stand it up like this. It's kind of a bugger. Once she goes, she just pops right off that way. All right, so now you can see there's some ride-on in there. And what I do, if it's nice out, I just hose this off in the lawn. And once you hose this off and get it full of water, it basically just disappears. It doesn't hurt the lawn at all. It's biodegradable. But since it's winter, I'm not going to do that. What I'll do is just scoop that out of the rim with a rubber glove on, throw it in the garbage, and then just set this tire to the side. It dries out, and this spring when I make my dump run, I'll get rid of the tire. What I will do with this is just wipe this down with a paper towel and then take it to my laundry sink and just hose this off. It's not like super sticky or anything like that. It really isn't a big mess at all. It's easy to work with. So. Okay, so I took this to the laundry sink, I hosed it out, wiped it down. It's ready to have a tire put on it. Here's the new tire. The next thing is to make sure you get the tire on with the rotation correct. So this, with the valve stem sticking out this way, would be the right side of my motorcycle. So the wheel turns in a clockwise direction going forward. And for those of you that didn't know it, there is rotation marks. You see that? So if I put it on this way, the rotation mark is going counterclockwise, and that's wrong. So it's going to have to go on this way. And now you see the rotation. It's in the clockwise direction. The other thing is, and I don't know that it really matters that much, but my understanding is this mark should go where the valve stem is. But that can be, once we get it on the rim, we can spin that around a little if it ain't perfect. And I don't think it matters because the ride-on tire sealant will balance it out anyway. All right, so now I'll show you how to get it back on the rim. All right, what I use are these straps. They're 1 inch thick. And these were about 6 foot long. I cut them down and then melted the ends so they weren't fraying. Some people do this with tie wraps, but tie wraps are actually thicker and can be expensive. If you buy cheap ones, they bust all the time. I went through that. So I decided to do this, and this is actually, these are really thin and they'll work nicely. So what I do is, I have 8 of them. And I will put them around the tire. And use them to compress the 2 sides of the tire together. So I'll put them in 8 positions. I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And get this all squeezed tightly together. Okay, so I've got the 8 straps put on. And I just kneel into them, get them as tight as I can. So these 2 halves are as pretty much squeezed together as they're going to get. And then we've already determined the rotation is this way. I can see the arrow. And then I'll find that mark got covered up, so I can't see where that yellow mark is. It doesn't matter because we can spin it once we get it on the rim anyway. All right. So don't get the ends of your straps in there. But it's going to go on the tire like that, or on the rim. The next thing I have is this ratchet strap, and this is one without hooks. You actually put the strap itself back through. So I'll put this around the rim and the tire. The purpose of this is it keeps pulling the one side of this in as you do this. Okay, like that. You want to wet the edge of this down again. And you can actually start just pushing it on. This ratchet strap forces the tire, which is squeezed together, into this groove, which allows you to, which moves it that way and gives you the room to get it on. And these cloth straps are much thinner than big tie wraps, so it actually makes this easier. I like these straps. That worked out pretty good. Now's the time when I probably got to use a couple of the spoons. Keep making sure this stays tight. And there it goes. It's actually not that hard. Just one at a time. Pull it out of there. We find our yellow mark yet? It's still hidden. It's over here, completely opposite of the way I wanted it. Oh well. Again, I don't think that really matters. The ride-on will compensate for it and balance the wheel. It's dynamically balanced. The last one's a little harder to get out of there. There we have it. Spin it in there either. All right. Next thing we'll do is try and set the bead. To do that,
use fire.
Make sure it's wet. Don't use fire.
Oh,
that's an old trick from my father's era. Use one of these with no valve core in it, so you can get maximum airflow. See if this will go. Oh yeah, look at that. Both sides went at the same time. And there it is. Okay, if you look on the Ride-On website, they tell you how many ounces to put in. This particular tire takes 8 ounces, but I always put it in a little heavy, so I put 9 ounces in. And it comes with this little tube that's wrapped up in here. You put that on, put it on the valve stem and squeeze it in. And it works, you can get it in that way. The problem is as you squeeze it in, the pressure in the tire increases, and you gotta keep pulling the tube off to let air back in. You just can't squeeze the full bottle right in, it won't work. So I got tired of that, and I built this little manifold system. I put this on the valve stem, and what I'll do is I have this little hand vacuum pump. This is the handiest damn thing. I use it to if I'm changing brake fluid in something, I'll suck the brake fluid out of the reservoir. If you put too much oil in your bike, you can suck it back out with this. Just a lot of different things it's handy for, and this is one of them. This vents to the outside air, so I have it closed right now. This is where I put the ride-on inside here. I'll show you in a second. So that valve is closed. This one's open because what I want to do is apply a vacuum to the inside of the wheel. And you simply do that by pumping this up. I now have a vacuum inside my wheel. So this will take 3 ounces at a time. And by the way, this is an 8-ounce bottle. So I'm going to put this bottle in plus a little more. So I get that right up to here at 3-ounce mark. Put my plunger in the end. Make sure my vacuum's holding. Oh yeah. Okay, now I'll shut this because I don't want the ride-on going back into the vacuum pump. And it's a good thing I did because that just came off. But that's okay, I still have my vacuum in here. Now I'll open this and just push it in. Okay, at this point, if I open this, I'll close this, open this one, outside air will come in and pull what's in this tube into the wheel so that it clears all this passage. Now next time I pull vacuum, it's not going to pull ride-on out of this tube back up into my vacuum pump. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. That allows me to pull this back out, maybe. Now I want to close this, put another 3 ounces in. Pull another vacuum. Okay, again I close this valve to prevent it from going this way. And I'll open this one. Look at that, it's already pulling it in. There's 8 ounces in this bottle, but it's hard to get every last bit of it out of there too. That's all I'm going to get. So I got another partial bottle over here. I can finish this last 3 ounces, so that'll be 9 ounces. we go.
You have to pump it up.
Oh yeah. Good thing I have my assistant here.
Why did you just close your valve?
Because I'm stupid.
No.
That's okay. I might be stupid, but I'm slow. I think my rear wheel takes 11 or 12 ounces with extra. It doesn't hurt to put a little extra in. It's not going to hurt a thing. It actually helps it balance better if the tire is really unevenly weighted. Okay. There we go. Now what I'll do is, again, I take this manifold down to my laundry sink and I can just hose all this out with water, flush it out, put it away till next time. Now, all that's left is to put a valve core in and fill it with air. It's ready to go. To close this video, there's just a couple other things I wanted to mention. One is, in case anybody wonders, I'm not affiliated with any tool manufacturer or Ride-On or anything like that. It's just the stuff that I found that works good for me. I don't make any money making these videos. I just do it to try and help people out. The only pay I get is a few thank yous, which is really, that's what it's all about. Let me turn the camera around. You can see here my wheel's back on. I did not get that yellow mark where the valve stem is like I normally do. I'm usually really particular about everything I do, but I didn't want to take the time to fight it during me trying to make this video. So there's the mark, which is almost completely opposite of the valve stem, but again, I don't think it's going to matter. The Ride-On dynamically balances the wheel, and I've got extra in there, so it'll be fine. Here's my wife's wheel, and you can see here's the yellow mark, and here's her valve stem. So I try and line those up. Again, I'm sure it doesn't matter, but I get picky about everything I do. So anyway, that's the video. Hope it helps you out, and thank you for watching.